If you're watching this, that means you're interested in applying for Akron's Violence Intervention and Prevention Grant. First off, thank you for all the work you're currently doing to make Akron a safer and more prosperous city. In this pre-recorded teaching aid, we will be walking through the City of Akron VIP grant application and providing some insights into what a successful grant application may include. We hope that this video helps your organization better understand the expectations associated with the Akron VIP funding and what is needed from you to fill out this grant application. Pre-application. The Violence Intervention application can be found on the City of Akron American Rescue Plan webpage. You will also be able to find the Notice of Funding Opportunity, Akron Violence Intervention and Prevention Grant Program on the same page. Notice of Funding Opportunity means an agency's formally issued announcement of the availability of federal or federal pass-through funding through one of its financial assistance programs. In the Notice of Funding Opportunity, you will be able to find information in reference to eligibility requirements, ineligible organizations, eligible expenses, ineligible activities and expenses, as well as budget and financial documentation. In the application, we will also collect your W-9, EIN, and DUNS number. Now we're going to dive into completing the application. Organization information and background. In the organization information and background section, you're being asked to provide your organization as registered with the IRS W-9. It is important to ensure the information entered accurately represents your organization. If you do not present the accurate information, it may cause a delay or denial in the processing of your organization's application. Authorized contacts. Provide the current contact information of the individual who is responsible for overseeing and managing the project which you are applying for funding. This person will serve as a primary point of contact for the city moving forward. Organization filing status. Filing status 501c3 is a U.S. Internal Revenue Code that allows for federal tax exemption of nonprofit organizations, specifically those that are considered public charities, private foundations, or private operating foundations. It is regulated and administered by the U.S. Department of Treasury through the Internal Revenue Service. There are other 501c organizations indicated by categories 501c1 through 501c29. This discussion will focus on 501c3s. Organization EIN number, also known as Employer Identification Number. Every organization must have an Employer Identification Number. The EIN is a unique number that identifies the organization to the Internal Revenue Service. It's required even if you do not have employees. You can apply for an EIN number here. Please provide a Data Universal Numbering System number, also known as a DUNS number. The federal government adopted a new policy in 1963 that requires organizations to provide a DUNS number as part of their grant application and proposals. A DUNS number is a unique 9-digit identifier for a business credit created by a credit bureau. A DUNS number identifies a company's Dun & Bradstreet business credit file, which may include firmographic data, company name, address, phone number. The federal government uses the DUNS number to track how federal money is allocated. Thus, a DUNS number is required for this application. You can learn more about a DUNS number and how to apply for one. Allow up to 2 business days to obtain a DUNS number, but it can occur in 1 business day. To address gun violence, group violence, and/or domestic violence in the past? If yes, by who? Please explain. If no, please enter not applicable. If yes, please provide a detailed explanation of who, the organization's name and address, provided your organization funding, and the dollar amount. Now we're going to dive into the project/program narrative section. Select the category that best represents your project. To select the option that truly defines your project/organization, it is important to think about what the purpose or mission of your organization is and how it impacts the community your organization targets. If your organization targets multiple projects, please pick one that represents the project the best. Is the project an expansion of current services your organization offers, a new program, or reinstatement of a previously funded program? Expansion. Is the program currently being run in the community, and will the funding expand your program's reach? New program. Is this a new program seeking funding to start a nonprofit? Is this program established with an appropriate filing documentation? Reinstatement or previously funded? Is the organization seeking funding to start programming again due to COVID-19? Did the city of Akron fund your organization prior to it shutting down or currently? Specifically, what will you use the funds for? Examples of eligible projects can be found in our corresponding city Notice of Funding Opportunity document that we touched on earlier. Something to think about: how will you use these funds? Be clear in your responses. Does your funding sponsor mentoring? Does it provide re-entry support services, street outreach, community norm changing, treatment/support to address mental health, traumatic stress substance abuse, parenting, skill and workforce development, domestic violence, hospital-based violence intervention? Please describe in detail how your project is related to COVID-19 and how funding is essential in addressing this need. Example, things to think about. How does your project mitigate community violence? What steps does your organization take to decrease community violence? Does your organization lead in decreasing community violence by facilitating weekly sessions? Do you host programming throughout the week? This is vital information that will help us determine funding for your organization. Please describe the target population of your program. Who are you trying to help? What is the age group? Define age group. Are you helping 14 to 18-year-olds? Are you helping formerly incarcerated individuals? Is your program targeted towards helping homeless individuals, single parents, or mentoring adolescents? Is your location, address, and neighborhood of your proposed project? Be specific as possible. Will your project be hosted in Middlebury, or will it be hosted in another part of the city of Akron? Which of the following statements apply to your proposed program or service? Please select all that apply. You may be asking, what is a qualified census tract? A qualified census tract is a low-income housing tax credit qualified census tract which must have 50% of the household with income below 60% in the area median gross income, or have a poverty rate of 25% or more. If your program falls within these qualifications, please select all that. How do you intend to recruit participants to your project and/or refer individuals from services, support, or other resources in the community? This question is asking, what steps will you take to increase awareness and engagement about your organization's programming? What platform will you use to communicate location, services available, and opportunity? These funds require the use of evidence-based models or practice-based evidence. Please provide a description of the evidence strategies to violence reduction. Evidence-based practices emphasize the practical application of finding of the best available current research. What data or proof can you provide to support the proposed program can determine violence reduction? Practice-based evidence. Practices that integrate the base research evidence with clinical expertise and patient values. Practice-based evidence, range of treatment approaches and support that are derived from and supportive of the positive cultural and local society traditions. Please explain your proposed project timeline to completion. All ARPA grants distributed by the City of Akron must expend by December 31st, 2024. What we are looking for a time frame the funding will be spent before December 31st. From January to June 2022, recruiting will take place. From June to July, programming, t-shirts, and staffing will take place. What information is necessary for you to collect to conduct programming? To determine whether programming is successful, to measure programmatic impact, demographic data, number of individuals such households served, number of activities provided, program frequency. Are these the things that you plan to collect to determine if your program has been effective? Now we're going to dive into the budget section. What is your budget request amount? In your budget request amount, we need to know how much money is your organization asking for. What is the exact amount that will provide your organization the support it needs? Please note, all budget items must be reasonable and critical to your proposed activities. What is the annual organization budget? What is the current operating cost your organization is operating on? What was the budget from 2019? Can you show proof of previous organization's budget? Budget should be as itemized as possible and should indicate what funds are spent on programming, employment, supplies, and operation. Does your project require upfront ARPA grant funding to get started? If yes, please describe what is needed to get started. Please explain what you need to get your project off the ground. Please provide explicit details of what you need. Are you looking to hire staff? Programming supplies? Please describe how this project will be financially sustainable after ARPA funds are expended. Once funds are used to its entirety, how will you maintain your organization's funding, programming, as well as retention of targeted population? What will you do to ensure your organization receives funding? What steps have you begun to assess? What past partnerships have you established to ensure funding is available? Have you worked with any nonprofit that assists in seeking funding for local organizations? Has this proposed project been submitted through any other city, state, federal, or private funding process? If yes, please provide the information regarding the funding source, amount in detail. Please provide details of other grant opportunities your organization has applied for and status if applicable. How will you measure the success of your project? Be specific as how will you define success? How will you track the success of your program? Please go into detail about how you will show the community and grantor you have been able to successfully impact the community through your organization. What are your specific outcomes and accomplishments this project will achieve? What outcomes are your organizations looking for to determine success? Are you looking to decrease incarceration, decrease police engagement, provide after-school programming, increase safety within the community? Once you have completed the information above, you will then dive into the administrative system. Please make sure you answer the questions accurately and attach the necessary document. Thank you for all the work you're currently doing to make Akron a safer and more prosperous city. To submit your application, please send all final materials, a completed application, and financial documents applicable to your organization detailed on page 9 of the application via email to arpa@akronohio.gov. Applications will be reviewed holistically by a selection committee. We hope that the video helped your organization better understand the expectations associated with Akron VIP funding. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to Tamika Rose at trose@akronohio.gov. We look forward to working alongside your organization.
Here you will find reference into the EIN number and DUNS number.